Alright guys, quick update for you guys. It's been a little bit, I've been busy with work and some other stuff, rebuilding like pretty much my whole house, but side note, update on the Colorado here quick. I moved it forward here, pretty much everything's done. I built a gnarly transmission mount. I started cutting out the front end and I fit in the 3-inch intercooler that has the tops for the inlet and outlet. Easiest way because there's not really a clear shot on these for like a side to side. I mean, I guess if you could jam it in here and cut out this stuff or something else, but they seem to be really easy to use this because of how narrow the rad is. On the inside here, the rad comes out a tiny bit on the end tanks, but you can see that rad ends like right here. So Corey Johnson, the dude that built the turbo kit, showed me a picture of his, and the inlet and outlet just poking right, you know, right through here, very easy. So that's definitely what I'm going to do. Pretty much copy the same thing. I have the turbo in, the downpipe in. I got my eBay flexible TH400 dipstick. It's only $24. I know sometimes you guys miss that. We put that on pretty much everything. This car does have a 4L80E, but the TH400 dipstick fits awesome. And the closest thing you can get to that I know of anyway, is a low car, which is like $86 discounted. So the downpipe is in, the oil feed is in, I did the oil drain. That's just draining down into the front. I don't have enough heater hose to run to the heater core right now, so I just hooped it so I could get it warmed up and running for fun. I wired the alternator actually to the Megasquirt, which we classically did not do before. But I found out a way for the stock ECU to get controlled by the Megasquirt, so I might do a segment on that sometime. I mean, I uploaded a thing to the wiki page explaining how I did that. So that's done. I got the radiator in, I got the stock lower hose from like a 09. I cut this rad, or this fan, I'm sorry, out of a junkyard the other day. I think it's out of like a Ford Windstar. It's got 3 huge thick wires. It's a 2-speed single fan. And I had to cut the snout off the water pump and cut the plastic shroud off of the motor. But it fits down in here. I had to cut the fan shroud a little bit too in the bottom and some other stuff. I almost thought it wasn't gonna fit, but it's perfect. It's a beast. I mean, look at how thick the fucking wires are. I'm probably gonna need 270 amp relays, but you turn this thing on low and it's like, blah, it's an animal. So that'll work really awesome. When I'm eventually going to put AC back into this thing. It's 50 degrees out right now, so it's not really pertinent. Don't really need it. I got the stock fuel lines connected. They're awesome. They work great too. What I did was, this was out of a van, so it had the tube to the remote mounted power steering reservoir. Normally the power steering reservoir is sticking on the edge here. I probably could have fit either one, but since this one was already on the motor, I just jammed this in here behind the battery. And I bled the power steering the other day, and it's crazy. It's weird to feel power steering on one of my builds. And I got most of the wiring done on the inside. I'm going to show how I did that in another, like a wiring update video. I know a lot of you are curious, but just a quick point of reference here. This just goes right to the battery. So then this is always on power. So you put it on things that need constant power. Usually far less things than need key on power. So this is the battery on power panel. It's going to the ECU, the trans controller, and I'm not totally sure what that is going to power wise. I have to check. But that's another just always getting power device. And then I'm using a relay in the engine bay, and it's throwing power to this panel, which has a ground bus bar on the back of it too. So when I turn the key on, everything connected to this turns on, which is the wideband ECU, the trans controller, and then you can ground stuff in the ground bar too to make it really easy. This is the trans controller. I got to work on that yet. I mounted the ECU here. There really wasn't many other places to go with it. These are all output wires and input wires for special things like boost control and other shit. That stuff's going to control a methanol kit and stuff. I plan on just trying straight pump for a little while and seeing how I like it. Also, oh yeah, I figured out what this white one is. Always power right here. It's for my push button starter. Because these cars have electronic start. If you've ever driven a newer Chevy, you know, you hit the key and you can feel it. The ECU is running the starter. You can lift you can hit the key and let go, and it'll run the starter until the car runs. Something interesting. So, like if I pull this fuse, yep, it's for the starter. And then, see, that's the starter. So, got the gold box in here, got the wiring in the engine bay, everything's hooked up. I showed you a video of the car running. This is, I put the wideband in, there's a piece of plastic back here. So, that's my gauge cluster for right now, one wideband. I'll probably just add like a simple tachometer in the back there. I put the Walbro 450 in the tank. I just butchered my bed open there under the cover and slammed the Walbro 450 and ran a new power wire feed for that because sometimes the power feed isn't quite enough. What I started doing here is I took the brake lines off, I got the emergency cables out and a bunch of other shit, and I started to unbolt my shackles here and had some trouble with them and basically ran out of time and buttoned up some more stuff in the front end. But we're going to swap the rear Thursday night. I got the rear all ready to go over here. So, Big Arms Club, O'Brien Racing is going to come over and help me. We may just lift the rear over the Leafs and lift the other rear in. We may just do that. Or we might just cut these bolts in the back and then replace them. Not sure yet, but you know, we'll see wherever the mood takes us. But that's it for now. That's as far along as I am. Working on it in my spare time, a couple hours a day, but gonna wire up this fan soon. I gotta figure out how much amperage these pull. I think they're all over 40 amps. The wire gauge is huge. The fan literally feels like it's gonna fly across the room, so it's pretty awesome. It's gonna cool really well considering that's a lot of fan, and it has 2 speeds, and it's a beast even on low. Classically, when I get a fan that good out of like a Ford, you don't even need the high speed. The damn low speed flows so much air, it cools the motor off beautifully on low speed. So, that's what I got for now. I got my tranny cooler over there. I got some tranny line and some 90-degree fittings from Parker Hydraulics to go into the side of the trans. So I'm going to run the trans cooler into the back of the car next. And then, you know, a little bit more chipping away at it. And then as soon as I get the rear in, I can get a yoke also from the Explorer. I don't have one of mine. The bolt-on piece that goes on the nose there, I got to get that so I can measure for a drive shaft. And I have the guy who made the white Fairmont's drive shaft is offering to make me another drive shaft for this guy. So thank you to him, and we'll get you his info and see maybe if he can do some drive shafts for people if he's interested in cutting some more. I had people ask me, so that is the quick rant update for now. Intercooler piping and fittings and couplers and stuff I gotta buy next. I have a whole shitload of them, but I don't know if I have exactly what I need. All these bins are just couplers, and then both are couplers, and the bottom is all T-bolt clamps. This is completely filled with T-bolt clamps. So, you know, time to figure out best way to hook all this bullshit up, and then we'll be good. And then drive shaft will be on the way, and hopefully the brakes will get bled and everything else. I'm rolling around soon. That's it.